So a few weeks back, I may have gotten carried away drawing fan art of Luce and also Combat Wheelchair Julia drawing, but I haven't been able to get this fan pairing out of my head. And as much as I enjoyed making this piece, I do regret not including more characters in the background. Specifically, one missed opportunity was Dahlia, a fan favorite of mine and several others in the Drawfee community, and one person on my Patreon actually suggested that perhaps Dahlia had a girlfriend, specifically the girl from Lady Obsessors Unkissed, which is a very niche Drawfee reference. If you know, you know. But it's essentially this ship between a demon and a woman who works at an office who summoned said demon girlfriend from the back of a magazine. So now you get why we're here. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the drawing. So unlike my other escapades into the worlds of illustration, I wanted this to be a comic, specifically a funny haha comic, because I'm trying to challenge myself to remember how I draw comics, which is kind of crazy because I've drawn a lot of comics. It's like what I'm trained to do. But because of YouTube, I just haven't stretched this muscle in such a long time that I was like, okay, I can remember this. But I did not thumbnail because that was too scary. So I just went straight into my penciling and this first comic panel, shall you say. And even at this time, I didn't know what the joke was. I had like a vague idea of what the joke or the content of this was going to be, but I didn't know in entirely how it was going to turn out. I just knew I wanted, a certain number of panels, and I wanted to draw the girlfriend looking very cute. And I knew I wanted to include some other obscure Drawfee office workers in the mix, because there's aren't a lot of them, and so it was one, very easy to do, but two, I happen to really love these characters, one of which is this guy who's a hot mess CEO. I think he's so great because he just has like this crazy outfit, but then also the umbrella salesmen and women from the Clip Studio challenge video, which I think is one of the most popular and watched Drawfee videos. I love the Clip Studios challenge, a great one. So in the office space in panel 1, I'm drawing the little opposite of CEO, low-level employee, the girlfriend who's a businesswoman who probably doesn't get enough respect at her workplace, with a clipboard, and behind her, I'm now drawing, or trying to draw, Dahlia. And this was very difficult because, one, she's going back in the space, so I wanted to make sure that, she was shorter because obviously she's farther away, but also it's like she's not that far away, and I think Dahlia is also canonically very tall, or perhaps I'm reading into that. What the heck happens here? I don't know. This is me just winging it. Sometimes clavicles are difficult to draw. Comment down below if you have a clavicle that gives you difficulties. I wrote myself a note that she's slumped forward. I don't know why. I think that the demon woman doesn't really want to be here. For some reason, in this particular episode of the webtoons or the comic or the anime, or however you want to imagine this media being consumed, there is like a reason why the businesswoman has to take the demon to work. Like, the demon doesn't want to be here, but she's like, ugh, I have to go with you because of either you're in danger or because I can't go at the beginning of the spell or ritual without being within like 100 yards of you or something. I don't know. It's just sort of like a little like you're stuck together trope, which is very common in the romance genre. Like When Harry Met Sally, or any of those funny movies where two people are stuck on a train. When two people don't like each other, you have to put them in scenarios where they have to spend time together and get on each other's nerves, but then also in the process fall in love. That's just how it goes. I don't make the rules. Now we're working on the second panel, which is when the demon is being a little more, not mean, but also sassy. Sounds so like condescending. I've been hanging out with my niece too much. She's like she's 6 years old. She's either 6 to 8, one of those ages. Oh wait, no, I think she's 9, about to turn 10. I think that's right. But she describes so many people as sassy, but sometimes the word sassy changes its meaning depending on how she's using it, because sometimes it means like a popular mean girl, and other times it just means brightly colored. So, to be in the mind of a child. Yes, but I really liked working on the character work. So much of illustration is doing acting. Like, I have to look in a mirror or move my own face to try to understand the emotions I want to convey through the character. And a lot of the times I am really drawn to very subtle acting and illustration. So I always want them to look very pleasing, but a lot of the times I have an exact emotion that I want to capture. And if I had all the time in the world, I would do like 4 panels just to get a very nuanced movement of a head or a slight change in expression or eyebrows. But this isn't animation, this is comics. So you got to keep it moving quick. Otherwise people get bored and it's like, what are we doing here? So I have the demon Dahlia in the background. I sort of combined her with the demon who is the big creature because I got the vibes that, one, all of the background images of the demon that the person summoned, she just looked like Dahlia already, like, except for the fact that there was monochromatic pink. I was like, that's just already Dahlia. So you could argue that it's always been Dahlia, like Agatha all along. But for 2, there just wasn't a big difference between the 2 demon characters, like going off of, from what we knew from the videos. Like, if both of the demon girls were very different, then that might make an interesting, not Triforce, that's the Legend of Zelda. Not Trifecta, I think that's an Alliance in Wars. Triple couple, 3-way love triangle, or a throuple. But yeah, whether it went polyamory or monogamy with extra steps, there just wasn't enough difference between the 2 characters to make it interesting in my opinion. So I sort of morphed the 2 demons into one character, which is Dahlia, and I imagine that the form she takes is very reminiscent of Marceline from Adventure Time, because I love Marceline, and whenever she turns into a giant bat, it just makes me so happy, because she's so strange and weird. I don't know, I enjoy it when monster ladies aren't treated different from monster men. And by what I mean by that is, so often in character designs, whenever you have a monstrous male character, they're allowed to be weird with strange shapes, and we're not worried about them being conventionally attractive 24/7. But in a lot of like 90s and early 2000 lady monsters, they just always have to look like ladies with a perfect hourglass figure and bright lips, and we can't have them looking too weird or monstrous. So I just really appreciated Marceline being able to go absolutely wild. All right, so now I'm working on the middle, well, I was working on the middle 3 comic strips, but now I'm working on the final panel where I'm having her final form. This was around the time that I figured out what I wanted the joke to be. That being, I like it whenever, Marceline would freak out Finn by turning into a big creature to scare him or another character to get her way. So this is the plot of the comic. Basically, the Dahlia character is going to Businesswoman and is like, hey, yo, I don't want to be here, let's leave. And she's like, no, we have to be here because I have a very important deadline I have to meet. But obviously she's not done with her deadline, so Dahlia is offering to use her scary demon powers to get an extension, something which the businesswoman is very against. She's like, no, I'm not gonna cheat or take a shortcut. But then by the final panel, she is getting the extension. Because don't we all want to live in a world where we don't have rigid deadlines and everything is flexible for our mental health? That's how I want to live, and that's how we all deserve to live. Yeah, and I just like how cartoony everything is and all the facial expressions that I'm doing, like this little fist that I'm working on in the 3rd little comic strip in the center was very hard. I drew so many different kinds of fists. I might have cut them all out, but you can see I'm just, nope, I didn't. I drew several fists from several different angles, almost like a study. I was just looking at my own whatever hand that is. And I think in the end, I ended up making it too big because your hand is supposed to be as big as your head, I think, in terms of proportions. But, maybe that fist is just really close to the camera and it's foreshortening. It's just perspective. Cut me some slack. So now I'm doing the inking, which is always such a barrel of monkeys, which is a fun time. Do people say that expression anymore? Or is that even a real expression, or is that just something my father used to say? Who knows? Anyway, we have a scared hot mess CEO in his very classic outfit. Oh, one detail that I did forget is that on his desk, I wanted to include a picture of his little sibling who was drawn by Jacob, I think in the same video that the Hot Mess CEO appeared in. I don't remember their name, but I just remember loving the headcanon that they were siblings. And yeah, that was one detail that if I had more time and this was more elaborate, I would have included it. But also, it's not a full ongoing, comic that's releasing monthly. It's just a comic to remember how I do comics. Because I have a lot of personal projects that I'm trying to get off the ground. That's just really challenging me to get my old muscle memory back into gear. I'm mixing my metaphors, but yeah. Basically, I'm working on a lot of comics, and this was a fun little YouTube video that I could do to just sort of get myself back into the swing of things without it being immediately the things that I have to release for money and my job and for, livelihood. Also, it can be very scary and daunting working on a long-term graphic novel or comic project because you're essentially either signing a contract to work on something for, 3 years of your life, or you're signing like a self-contract with yourself to post this own comic that's going to take so many months of your life. So either way, it's always such a large commitment, but in the end, I would rather live in a world where I got to draw at least a couple comics than the world where I didn't draw any comics and I don't know, I was depressed and didn't make any art. That sounds like a sad world to live in, so I'm glad we're living in this one. I love these umbrella salesmen. I'm so sad nobody ever gets names. People need names. It's important. But yeah, they don't have any, and I am just riffing at this point. How's everybody doing? What's it like in your 2025? That doesn't sound like a real year. But soon it'll be like 2060, and I'll look back at this and being like, man, you thought 2025 wasn't real. Welcome to the future, baby. But now we're just getting into the coloring, which is always the most fun and zen part of these videos. And just whenever I do illustrations, I feel like coloring is always the most fun. It can be frustrating if I have like a specific idea that I want to capture perfectly and it involves a lot of desaturated colors and color theory that I can get kind of heady about and psych myself out. But this kind of video, darling. I was like, I don't really care what these colors are. I just want them to be cute and fun. I put Dahlia in all these like fun army greens and earth tones because her hair is this like light pink and she has these red horns. So I just liked having her in these neutrals to really make her skin tone and hair really pop, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, besides that, I also loved using the color of her horns on her eyes inside that middle panel. I love how just whimsical and fun this comic is. One thing that was very challenging is having to draw the business character from all these different angles. Like she's turning her head a lot and doing all these facial expressions, and it can be very difficult when you only have one piece of Drawfee art to extrapolate a whole personality from. Like, how does this hair move? How short is it? How many layers are there? That was a lot of just things I have to decide on my own. But I think she reads as the same character because of the costuming and continuity. So I don't take myself too seriously when it comes to that regard. But yeah, we are very, very quickly reaching the ending of this comic. Like, I added the galaxy tights to the hot mess. I just do a couple of minor tweaks to the designs. Oh, and then I add words. Oh my gosh, I forgot that it was an actual comic. I guess I should read this. You work with these losers? Can you not? I have a huge deadline today. I mean, if you need more time, I could help you get an extension. No, I have to face my problems head on. Extension granted. Thanks, haha. So yeah, that's the comic. Very cute, very simple, nothing too complicated. If you enjoyed this video and you've already told me about your 2025, any New Year's resolutions that you have, or what you're, excited about or, dreading, That's a little forum down below for you to express yourself however you need to. My name is Nathan. If you want to be able to support more art like this, check me out on Patreon, link down below, where for just $4 a month, you can have your name in the end credits. And speaking of end credits, here they are now. Special thanks to Anna Sophia Boyd, Axelius the Great, Beck, Bodie, Blue Uwu, Kay Clark, Christopher, Dabadoodoo, Dax Quinn, Aaron Martin, Emma Wee, Gay Jarris, Jay Johar, JD Boy 2000, Johan, Kitsune Chibiko, Lucky Paradox, Melon, Mild Mothman, Mistake, Native Runner, Orion Amastasia, Pinecone, Potion Cellar Door, Rin, Scorching Ray, Sir Camelot, Smalls the Sax Jammer, Shenanigans, Tad the Turtle, Tarthalinor, The Real Michael, Thumper Daytime, Thony, Tortilla Chips, Tuesdays Anyways, Tundra Katie Bean, and Tuppence Pies. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nathan, and I'll upload a new video real soon. Bye!